All right. Welcome to everybody out there on YouTube land, our friends around the world. We've got UK in the house, we have Australia in the house, and I think we've got Canada in the house, plus our good old friends in all over the US and the world. So, welcome everybody. It is Saturday in Nature's Frequencies awesome event, and today's about EMF. And I got to tell you, it's getting worse. Yep. You're hearing it more and more because it's not going away and nobody really cares. RFK cares. We really like him. He's actually talking about it. But besides that, nobody cared. Like we've got departments that's supposed to be looking out for people, but nobody's looking out for EMF. So we are. So without further ado, Arj, what do you got?
Right, let me share a screen.
And I'll tell you why. You need to be careful about the EMF, baby.
Do you see what I see?
I see what you see. I see a beautiful warm beach and welcome. Oh, I see a nice waterfall. Oh, anyways, it's a beautiful picture, Arch.
All
Flip it.
righty.
Okay, we have, what do we have, Arch? Arch, we
First,
have
we have
frozen.
we have awards and recognition.
We have awards and recognition. We are wonderfully awarded with 14 industry awards. Very cool, including the most prestigious Gold Medal Edison Award. We're on the red carpet. Yep. We have 6 US patents. They are real. And I just got another renewal bill for $1,000. I swear to God, they just keep sending them. Renew, renew. You got to renew. Anyways, we've been on Fox News. RJ was live with Stuart Varney and company. Very cool. We've been featured in USA Today and hundreds of other cool publications. And how long we've been in business? I think it's almost
11.
12.
It's almost 12.
You know, we're the
August.
original frequency people. We were nature's frequencies when people are like, frequency? What's a frequency?
It was
Like,
3G.
we are, no, it was voodoo. You guys are voodoo. Like, what do you do with frequent? Well, here you have discomfort. Here, try this patch. Went away. Just for your voodoo. Anyways, frequencies are amazing, and we are like really good at it. So, without further ado, this is a problem. It is getting worse. Why, you ask, is it getting worse? That tower on the left, the nice red and white one, that is the water tower of Guilford, New Hampshire. That is my water tower. The good news is I live on a mountain far away. My water comes underground from a well 950 feet down. I do not drink this water. But look at the EMF that's getting put out on that water. That's 4 and 5G. Boom. Not good for you. Water picks up everything. Um, and it's wild what water can do. RJ, kill the camera. I got to tell this story real quick. So
Um,
I was building, I was building an addition on my house. Actually, this wing, this wing, this big wing. Anyways, we were building this wing. I had a bunch of construction people. Now I told you I live on a mountain. All right. And on the side of my driveway, there's a culvert with water. Okay. And then I have got a big side yard, and underneath is a big water tube. It's like I think it's 18 inches underneath the driveway that goes to the other side where I park stuff. Anyways, a construction worker parked his pickup truck right over where the water goes underneath. And his pickup truck was brand new. He goes to start it, and this is right after a heavy, heavy rain. So water was running underneath his truck. All right. The water sucked his battery dry. He went to start it that night. It was dead, totally dead. We jumped his truck. He went away. Next day, I told him to park somewhere else. Started his truck. It's fine. All right. The water sucked the energy out of his battery. No joke. Somebody else, like 2 months later, did the exact same thing after a rainfall. It comes down the mountain, goes through the culvert, sucked the battery dry. We all learned quickly not to park anything over water. and it's crazy, but water picks up frequencies and it picked up his battery juice. And these are real stories. Like, so now we've always say water picks up everything. Dr. Emoto's pictures are amazing. Healthy water, with good symphony music looks beautiful. It's structured. Crazy rock music looks like haphazard. So understand water is constantly picking up EMF. Not all EMF is good for you. Matter of fact, most of it's not. So, what does it do to you? RJ, what's the next slide?
All right, we got a
We
couple
never
good
know what
ones.
he's bringing up this time.
Let's
RJ's got 3
see.
screens.
4.
He's the guru of tech, and I am the guru of untech. This is a problem. All right. When you want to know if you're getting hit by EMF, you got to do this. All you got to do is look to what you connect to. When RJ lived in Boston, he connected to 22 different routers that he could connect to. That means his body was getting hit with 22 different routers that are messing up everything. What happened? He and his brother Michael lived together in an apartment. Neither one of them could sleep. We've heard Dr. Stan say, what happens? Oh, look at
How
this.
about that?
Hey, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That plus that, no sleep, baby. Well, Dr. Stan, and he is probably one of the smartest people you'll ever met. He's been a MD for 45 years. He's one of the smartest people I've ever talked to. And he goes, Rick, it's here's the problem. Your brain gets like a flash of light when it gets hit with EMF. Well, gets hit, boom, boom, boom. So the brain doesn't get into that deep sleep. Get hit with 21 of those. And then while you're at it, the worst is the boxes are the electrical boxes. I forgot the word right now. What is it?
The routers?
No, not the routers. The one that's
Sure.
outdoor. The
Smart
electro
meters.
box. Smart meters.
Smart
Oh,
meters.
I had a block on that. Smart meters, they send a signal that's really strong. Why? Because they got a lot of electricity and they send the signal like every 6 seconds. So your body, boom, sees it, brain light goes off. So no sleepy with EMF. That's bad. I really like that slide, Arch. Good job. What,
Right?
what else you got in your little box of tricks?
I think we got a famous Nikola Tesla quote.
You mean if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and the vibration.
That's the one.
That's been our saying for over 11 years. Every single, like we've always had that. And people are starting to understand it. First, everything in the world is energy. Everything. Without energy, you're dead. How about that? Frequency. Everything vibrates. And if you get to understand the good of frequencies, 432, 528, there are some beautiful healing frequencies out there. They're just really a good thing. Um, Vibration. Every atom in the universe vibrates. Everything. So once you understand that, you got to understand if you can help your body with energy, frequency, and vibration, vibration's good. Um, Remind me, Arj, later on, somebody asked about smart meters, how to help it. And I think you have a picture at one
I got
point.
a couple slides for that coming.
There we go. All right. What do you got next in your little box of tricks? I really like that thing.
Here we go.
Oh, guys, please understand, kids, our kids now live on cell phones. When I was a kid, torture was take my bike away. Don't let me ride my bike. Now, torture to a kid is take their phone away. Like they live on these things. That's not good. All right. Why a little kid, his head is squishy. It's a lot more water. The skull isn't as hard. So the EMF goes into the head a lot further in a kid. Plus, all the tests they did, they considered major use of a cell phone 30 minutes. There's not a kid in the planet that only has a cell phone for 30 minutes. You may have not a cell phone for 30 minutes, but now kids are living on these. My head is old, thick. So I'm the one on the right. So mine's barely going in, but a kid, they got to be doing it. So what do? You put bingo, EMF shields on the phone. Go to the next slide, Arj. I saw
All
it.
right. Well, first we're gonna go to the EMF Shield.
Oh, oh, the EMF Shield. This is the number one best in the world EMF Shield. Why can I say that? Because A, we have 3 US patents. One of them says we can offset the negative effects of electromagnetic field in a cellular device. How cool is that? We're the ones with the patent. Number two, we've sold millions through doctors. When we started, we only sold through practitioners. That's it. We have done probably millions of muscle tests through all of our practitioners, like Dr. Janine, who loves to do a muscle test with everybody. And number three, it works. We've been tested in laboratories in Australia on live TV, and it works. And it doesn't work once in a while. It works every time. So what do we got here? In a lab, haha. Look at the difference. Without an EMF shield on your phone, your head goes up on average 1.5 degrees. That's not good. With it, it goes up 0.08. Very simple. Which would you rather have? Your head shouldn't go up 1.5 degrees in 3 minutes for anything, but it does. And that's why sometimes your hand gets hot. Leave your phone in your pocket. Your pocket gets hot. You just put an EMF shield. If you keep your phone in your pocket like I do, keep the EMF shield to your body. All right. And yes, I use 3. Somebody asked me, why does yours look so big? Up. And I have a nitro patch on because, anyways, now I don't. Um, so anyways, lab tested. Okay, why does your head go hot? Like, this is really like to show you. In dark field microscopy, your blood with EMF that aren't good for you, your blood coagulates. All right. And what we are capable of doing with our frequencies, and understand the EMF shield, the power of the phone amplifies the beneficial frequencies in the EMF shield. So it's actually a good thing. But what we can do is help separate the blood. If you help separate the blood flows. If not, what happens? Your body goes to fight or flight with your head. You have these little tiny capillaries like a tube. And your blood, when it's strung up in rouleau, it cannot go through it. So it goes boom. And the blood, boom. Your brain sends more. Boom, boom. So your head gets hot. Boom. That's why. All right. But if it's a single cell, it goes right through the capillaries. The blood flows the way it's supposed to. And that's a good thing. Arj, could you have this playing? Or am I
Yep.
asking too much?
You mean like
Ah,
that?
I got the video. You never cease to amaze me, my son. Let's see the video.
Let's just say this is the normal blood.
See how it's strung up? It's clumped. That blood's not moving and it's not flowing. This is pretty cool. This was filmed 11 years ago. I did it with my son Michael, with our Dr. Smith.
Explain what just happened.
Well, they separated.
And what does that mean?
Well, actually, there's an increase in blood flow. If this were internal, then his pain would be going down.
Can you just look at me 1 second? Now you just looked at the blood just by adding the pain chip. And what did you just say?
I just said that increased blood flow, more oxygen to the body, less pain.
And then you just said one more thing also.
Did I
Yeah,
say
he said it.
You did say it.
pretty unique,
Pretty amazing.
pretty amazing?
Pretty amazing. Anyways, that was 11 years ago. They tested, all they did was Dr. Smith put our patch on the slide next to it. The frequencies of the slide, you can see it separated the cells. And then there's another thing. After the camera was off, he said, Rick, here's what's really amazing. The heat in that lamp for microscopy is really hot. And he tests blood every day. Like that's what he does. And he goes, Rick, the more it's under the heat of that lamp, the more the blood doesn't move. So getting the movement like that is phenomenal. And that's what our product helps to do. So we're really pretty proud of it. And what other goodies do you have in your box of tricks? Oh, symptoms caused by wireless devices, courtesy of our friend Dr. Joe. You know, the big one we hear, it's it's RJ, you got to read. Besides fatigue and brain fog,
Mm-hmm.
brain fog has been coming up more and more. Understand your brain has synapses and connections, and it's made to flow in the Schumann resonance 783. That's a very good frequency. But you're getting hit with different frequencies that aren't really good. So your brain might not always connect the same way. So we get people that have brain fog, and as you get older, brain fog gets worse. But nausea, brain fog, and insomnia is coming up more and more than we've ever heard. That and now we're getting a lot of people ringing in the ears tinnitus. We hear tinnitus more and more and more than you could
That's
ever
come up a
imagine.
lot lately.
Yeah, and your ears are sensitive to frequencies, and again, these are all things that like years ago weren't issues, but the issues that are coming up that just telling you, they're not going away. There's nobody saying we're going to stop this. Oh, Harry, that's my smart meter. Haha. The good news about my smart meter. Okay, I got to tell you a story about smart. Okay, well, one is I was down at a benefit for charity, and a lady was telling me about her dog. Well, first, this I walk on this yacht that's huge, and it's a 130-foot gorgeous yacht in Boca Raton. So they invited me the night before, and as I get on this yacht, this lady is telling a story about her ankle and how her friend put these dots on him, and her ankle was killing him, and she's explaining that, and then she's showing the people, and there's like 20 people in the room. I knew nobody. I was invited by the doctor that was one of the hosts, so he invited me. I was there, and she's telling the story about her ankle, how she couldn't even walk on it, and now she's walking on it. She loves these dots. So, and she's showing it to people, and she looks at me, and she goes, "You look like you know something." I go, "I made them." So she runs up to me, gives me a hug, and says, "I can't thank you enough. My ankle's amazing." Okay. So now we are drinking cocktails, going up and down the intercoastal in this magnificent yacht that, RJ, it's so big they have to wait for all the bridges to open.
Love
All right.
that.
It's got a crew of 10, and we have bars everywhere, which is very cool. So, anyways, as we're talking at one of the bars, she goes, "My daughter is 16 and she's a wreck." I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" I go, she goes, "Rick, um, we've been to like so many doctors and they gave her medication. Like one of them they've tested CAT scan, they've done everything known to man. And one of them gave her medication." She goes, "She's a 16-year-old little girl dancer. Like it wiped her out for a week. And just the medication didn't work. She couldn't sleep at night. Her ears were ringing. She goes, she can't even go to school." And she's been to like 5 doctors. These people are not, they have money. And every doctor known to man, the last one finally said, "There's nothing we can do. She's got to live with it." And she looks at me and she goes, "Is there anything you can do?" "I'll do anything to help anybody." So I said, "Well, tell me a little bit more about it." And she starts to talk and she goes, "Yeah, it's really bad at night." And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "And she really can't sleep. She wakes up ill. But at night it's really, really bad." I go, "Is her room like at the end of the house?" And she goes, "Yup." I go, "Do you have a smart meter by chance?" She goes, "I don't know what that is." Um, so she goes, she calls over her husband, and the guy, you could tell, was a very wealthy man. Like, anyways, he looks at me, and I go, uh, "By chance, does your daughter live with a smart meter, like on the other side of her bed?" He looks at me like I have 3 heads. He goes, "Why?" I go, "Because I think that's what's doing it." He goes, "The smart meter's right behind her bed on the other side of the house." And this is a big house, pumping a lot of electricity. So I'm like, I can guarantee she's really sensitive to EMF. So believe it or not, we make a home unit. I sent her a home unit. I sent her home with a ton of EMF shields. Um, we have a bunch of other goodies that we sent her home with. And then I actually told her to take a lead lined sheet. They sell them at Lowe's and Home Depot. You can take a lead lined sheet and put you can put it behind a picture or a mirror and just block it. 'Cause you're not going to get, it's really a pain to get these things taken out, but this kid was incredibly sensitive. But again, I don't sell lid line sheets, but if your bed is against it, it's really bad for you. You are not going to be healthy. And anyways, to make a long story short, the girl is healthier. That's a tree. Explain to me why a tree goes bad on one side like that. That's what a smart meter does to a pine tree. All right. Think about your brain being on the other side of that. It's cooking. It's not good. I got another one for you. My doubles partner is he owns a local newspaper and he publishes. He hired a guy, and the guy was really good writer, blah, blah, blah. He gives him, he had a room on the side of his office that was, on the side of the building, but he hadn't used it. So he gave this guy the office. He had the office. It wasn't even 2 weeks. And he came up with like weird sicknesses. And he'd go home, come back, come back with some other weird sicknesses, go home, come back to work. And so one day my doubles partner tells me this, and I go, Adam, like, he goes, Rick, we can't even explain it. This guy was healthy as a clam. Like everything was good in his life. He comes to work for us. He's got more crazy sicknesses than you can imagine. I go, Adam, let me see his office. So his office is over there. This other guy's office was over there. So he walks me there. I'm like, okay. I go, this is the outside wall of the building. Yep. I go, let's go outside. We go outside, Arch. This is in the bottom of the opera house. They have an office on the first floor. The whole second and third floor is an opera house in Laconia. There's 8 smart meters right outside the guy's window. 8 smart meters. This guy's getting cooked and his body couldn't take it. They moved him to the other side of the building. He's been fine ever since. And they really like the guy. Okay. These are 2 real stories of what EMF can do to you. All right. And a lot of people don't understand that, but it's real. And smart meters, not good for you. You have to pay to get them taken out. Again, I'm lucky. My smart meter is about 100 yards that way at the end of the 4th garage. So nobody sleeps near it. Nobody's near it. But if I had a pine tree on the outside, it would look like that. All right, Arch, what do we got?
Here we go. Let's hear from some doctors.
Doctors. Let's hear from doctors. Who are we going to hear from?
Start
Tim.
with
All right. Talk about quantum energy specialist. Our buddy Tim Coleman deals with the toughest people with issues that you can imagine. It takes like 4 months to get an appointment with this guy. He does with severe trauma, and he deals with issues that most people can't deal with. And he actually thinks he has a computer that's amazing that he plugs people into, and he can actually get to the root, which is really pretty cool. So let's hear what Tim has to say.
all righty.
Let's not even talk about 5G, the 3G and 4G, even that alone, we're microwaving, our body's getting microwaved. So when we're holding on a cell phone and we're receiving calls and we're making calls, well, the signals are more of a microwave, and our cells are getting microwaved to a certain level. Now, what happens when that happens? It partially shuts down our cells, because our cells, our body's very smart. Our body knows that, hey, this is not natural. This is a threat. I'm under attack, basically. So the cells will partially shut down when this happens. Well, what does that mean? Well, think about all these functions in the body: digestion, building new cells. Well, if your cells are on, off, how efficiently is your body? How well can you repair your body? Not very well. So it puts a lot of stress on the body. And even when we're sleeping, we have these smart meters, we have Wi-Fi modem. And if we're not, we really need protection on our phones, because we're sleeping and we're receiving these frequencies, and it is interfering with our circadian rhythm, our sleep patterns. It's interfering with our body. We can't get as good sleep. So it's very important to have the like the EMF shields on the Wi-Fi modem. Have them on your phone. Have them on your laptop. I have them on all my electronics. Now 5G. I was just reading a report. That's about 1,000 times stronger than the 3 and 4G. 5G is, I see it as, I mean, a huge health problem. And, unfortunately, it's probably going to roll out, and it is rolling out in some areas. You can do your own research. You can Google, effects of 5G. They've been rolling it out in fire stations, police stations. And now these people, like our firefighters, are now complaining with health issues and concerns, and it's having a detrimental effect on people. And unfortunately, it's probably going to roll out in your neighborhood. So the best thing we can do is protect ourselves, get a quantum card on you, get the EMF shield on your electronics. And, all we can do is the best, we can only do so much. But that, I think everybody really needs to take it seriously, because it can have a big effect on your body.
All right. I got to tell you, that was like 5 years ago.
That was
All
a
right.
long time ago.
Yeah, it was. And Arj, I just looked it up. All right. There was what he's talking about, because I remember talking to Tim. There was a fire department in California that they put a cell tower on top, because they figured, look, they own the fire department building. Let's put a tower on top. They did. And they started the study like in 2004. All right. And they had a doctor run the study, and it's very cool. They said, this is what happened. The symptoms: slowed reaction time, lack of focus, severe headaches, sleep deprivation, depression, and tremors. That's what happened in the study. Like it, this is in 2004. They took a fire department, a doctor did the study. The results were brutal. Nobody cared, by the way. So the results came out, and it's like, ooh, this isn't good for them. So, but these fire department, they tested, you can look it up. This, Tim and I'll never forget it. Tim said, Rick, they wiped out a fire department. They put the tower on it. Then in New York, they were putting it on schools, and kids were having problems. And then they started to have to pull that. Somebody said, hey, you got to stop doing this to kids. But, if you think about it, like, somebody's got to say, not good for you. All right. So what do you got next, Arj?
All right, we got another Tim Coleman quick clip.
We have another Tim. Is this the
EMF?
4 years?
Just to give you an idea, I have this really neat computer where I can bring somebody into my office. I hook up similar like a blood pressure cuff onto their arm. And now I have complete access to their body. It's like an IT person, going through your computer. But I can determine from the body standpoint, what are the main stresses? What are the priorities of the body? What can the body handle? For example, if somebody comes in and they might have heavy metal toxicity, but they'll tell me, no, they're not ready for that. Or, maybe their liver and their kidneys are just not up to par right now. So I can get a lot of information. I know we were talking the other day, I can look at anything, and I can look at your spinal fluid. I can look at every nerve of the eye, anything. Well, what's interesting is, I've had this machine for probably 10, 11 years, and I do all kinds of things. I can imprint frequencies into homeopathic remedies. I can infuse them into a person's body with lasers, a lot of neat stuff. So what I've noticed though, I have this category in the computer under toxicity. Now, that'll tell me what are the main stresses to the body as it relates to toxicity. What I've noticed ever since this whole quarantine thing, there's been a dramatic increase in EMF exposure, because it'll tell me right there, EMF exposure is the body's top priority, top stress. And I'm seeing a lot of really strange symptoms that maybe I would see once in a while. And now it seems like almost everyone's coming in with just random things like ringing of the ears. They can't sleep. Even kids, panic attacks, just energy issues. And And what it is a lot of this EMF exposure, because where are people going to go? You know, you got kids now on their tablets, they're in front, you playing video games, mom and dad, you know, they might be working from home. Everybody is in this Wi-Fi soup and they're just getting microwaved. And just to give you an example, I just had a client, she texted me because her child is now having panic attacks, just can't go to sleep, she's scared. Well, after investigating and talking to her, she just installed a new security system, Wi-Fi security system with the camera and the whole alarm and everything. And it was having an effect on her little girl.
You know, people don't think about it, but if you have a doorbell that has a video and it's going wireless to your router, that something in between has got to be going through too. So some people are a lot more sensitive than others. And, you know, again, Tim's the one smart enough to say, hey, I think it's this that causes that. Tim's a really smart person, but he gets people that they can't really, you know, in mainstream, I guess you could say in mainstream medical, EMF isn't a problem, but in real world, it's a problem. And it's not going away. It's only getting worse. So you really, and Tim mentioned the EMF Shield and Earthing Card. You know, the EMF Shield protects devices. The EMF Shield and Earthing Card protects you. And you can also get our tag. Um, the EMF tag is great. What I love about my tag is I always have it on me and I don't give it away. I just reached in my pocket. I was out with one of my buddies playing pickleball and I probably gave it to him. He did a muscle test, showed him. He's like, I want that. Here, take it. So I don't even have a card on me right now. I have to restock. I was reaching in my pocket, Arjun. Nope, gone. Give it away. Anyways, the EMF Shield and Earthing Card helps you. All right. And you can tell anytime you have one, it's always fun to do. Just stand up, twist, watch how far you twist, put the card in your hand, twist, you'll go 25% further. Why? Because that's the way your body's supposed to work. The EMF isn't affecting. Boom. It's really simple. And Dr. Stan, who is like, he would always say, it's not a parlor trick. It works every time. Nick just wrote, I understand why my lilac bushes. RJ, who is the host now? Anyways, lilac bushes, why would they go like that? Well, you know what, Nate? If they're by your smart meter, you know, plant a rock garden. um, Anything near a smart meter is not going to be healthy. And there's really, I got to tell you, there's really not a lot you can do. RJ's trying to reconnect. You got to love it. Technology. Anyways, we can't live without it. So in the world that we live in, this isn't going away. 5G, you know, you hear people see 6 and 10G. You know, I hear these ads, 10G. Can you imagine what that's going to do to people? And again, especially kids. So anything, you know, if it emits a frequency, it affects you. Some are good frequencies, some are bad. And, you know, you just got to be careful. So, without that being said, while my young son tries to connect, the other good thing that I got to tell you is if you're feeling like, you know, you can walk into a room and sometimes you just feel queasy. That room's probably in the other side of a smart meter. And again, you know, any way that you can avoid it, try it. Like you're stuck, you can't move the smart meter. So do whatever you can. Put EMF shields on it. There's a lot of different devices you can put them on. You can put them on your tablets. If you have a power supply, okay? This is the most important, tablets. Kids live on these things. Routers. This is my old router. I upgraded my router. But they go on all different devices. And, you know, I even have this behind my chair. All right. This is an energy and vitality card, and I have EMF shields on it. It's behind my back at all times. And I got to tell you, it just feels good. So RJ, welcome back.
Wow, yeah, I'm surprised the meeting stayed running. I just got the internet boot and reset it, and now we're back in action, but that's
All
good.
right. So do you have another slide?
Sure do. Let's hear it from Dr. Janine.
We love Dr. Janine. Dr. Janine, RJ and I met 11 years ago at Life University. We've been friends ever since. She was the first one to test our EMF shield. She walked up, what are you guys doing? Nature's frequencies. Frequencies? You're doing frequencies? And she had a rock that she was using on a phone. It was like some kind of like hard rock. And she goes, you know, what really stinks about this is if you put it down and it lands on the rock, it cracks the glass of the phone. Remember that, Arj? It was cracking glasses.
Yes.
And, you know, it may be offsetting the EMF, but it was physically breaking the glass on the phone. It would go on the back. It was like a rock, but it was some kind of material, and it helped offset EMF. So when we showed her our EMF shield, she did a muscle test with her rock and our EMF shield. It won. We've been friends ever since. She has done tens of thousands of muscle tests with all of her patients, and we love Dr. Janine. So that being said, what does she have to say, Arj?
Talk about EMF and kids.
Right, absolutely. This is laminated. I carry this around, and it's the picture that we showed earlier. And the bottom line is that children are a lot more susceptible for a couple different reasons. Number one, they're going to have a much longer exposure, and that exposure is cumulative, but their skulls are thinner, and so the radiation penetrates deeper. And so they get exposure to more of their neurons, more of their brain cells for a much longer period of time. The other thing about kids is that their bodies are more hydrated. You know, babies, they're so cute and they're so squishy, is what my daughter used to call it, but they have a lot more hydration. One of the signs of aging is that when your skin starts to dry out, you start to wrinkle, and you can tell the difference. So that hydration actually attracts the radiation. So they're getting a lot more exposure, they're getting more damage, and it's for a much longer period of time. So that's why I say we've got to be, you know, this is important, not only to be wearing the card or the tag, but also to make sure we have all of the devices harmonized. That is huge. All the devices around the house, all the devices that they're going to potentially be exposed to, really all of your devices. And that's why the list that Susie mentioned earlier is so powerful, because there's so many things that people don't even think about around the household. I mean, this list is long. This checklist is probably 100 different things that you need to look at in terms of potential exposure, but specifically, especially the phones and the tablets and the computers that they're going to actually be holding and using. Mm-hmm.
All right, Arj. Wait, okay, you got one more quick video? I feel it. I feel it. What do you want to say?
One more quick video with Dr. Janine. We love hearing from her.
All right, we really do.
We have all of these devices around us that communicate energetically, so to speak. You know, the Wi-Fi, the cell phones, the towers, the Bluetooth, all of these things, you can't see it. You can't feel it. Some people can feel it that are really, really sensitive. Most people can't feel it. You can't taste it. You can't hear it. However, it's bombarding us and affecting us all the time. And what happens is our bodies are frequency, our bodies are energetic. And we all know this because you might go into a room and somebody negative walks in, or somebody that's sad or that has an attitude walks in, and you can literally feel the energy of the room just, I mean, I know we've all felt that before, or, you know, being around somebody that just makes you feel tense. Well, this is what happens to our cells when we are surrounded by this electromagnetic frequency, this EMR radiation. Our cells go into a stress mode. And so what happens with them is that they kind of, the cell membranes kind of harden down. They have a hard time getting rid of their toxins, and they have a hard time taking in their nutrients. So it affects our body's function. Now, you know, the original studies that were done on cell phones, they said, oh, well, it doesn't really affect us because it doesn't, you know, heat the tissue up that much. Well, there's so many more effects that don't have anything to do with heat. There's biological effects that affect the function of our cells and our tissues. And that's what's really causing a problem. When you have these devices that emit, so anything that is hooked up wirelessly, whether it be the LTE, the new 5G, which that takes it to a whole different level. That is exponentially more toxic than what we've been exposed to. And what that's doing to us is it's really taking our immune system down, to be honest with you. That's what it does. It hinders your immune functions drastically. And so now more than ever, we've got to be super proactive. But as our phones try to communicate with the Wi-Fi, with the Bluetooth, and with the cell phone towers, that's 3 different types of radiation that it's emitting. When we have these devices on our phones, and I'm one of those people, unfortunately, I'm contributing to the statistic. I am one of those people with 2 phones. I don't go anywhere without it. I keep it on every device, the phones, the computers, the tablets, the routers, everything that I can absolutely think of. I'm going to go through this list and make sure I haven't missed anything, because basically when we have it close to our bodies, which we do with these, whether we carry them on our bodies or whether they're in our, in our bags, they're still right there next to us. And so we're having a greater effect. So the start of it is protecting your own environment, mitigating all the devices in your own environment, and then wearing that card so that you're protected against everything else that's coming from the outside.
Right.
All right. All right. We got one more cool picture. Show us where these things. Can you blow that up?
It is blown up.
It is blown up. It goes on a laptop where your hands go. Goes on routers, smart TVs, hair dryers are big. Oh, this is pretty cool. If you ever don't think an EMF, if it has a motor, it emits EMF, just so you know. Hair dryers, all right, emits a ton of EMF. And you can tell with a hair dryer, same way. Turn it on and then move as far as you can. Stand straight. Then put an EMF shield on your hand and do it again. You'll move further. Why? Because the EMF isn't affecting you. I did this with somebody and they flipped out. So yes. So anyways, did you put a microwave in that picture?
We sure did.
Okay, nobody should be using a microwave, period. All right. Just please understand that. No, I don't even want to see a microwave on that. Like, just nuke the microwave. Microwave, not good for you. All right. Please understand, and just for the record, we held an RF meter by a microwave with the door shut. Guess what? That door doesn't stop the microwave coming out. All right. So when you're staring there looking at your water to boil while you're killing the water, like, don't think, don't think you're not getting zapped. All right. That glass does nothing to stop it. We were with, Michael and I were with the doctor 11 years ago, and he showed us this because he had a frequency meter, and he said, just so you understand why we don't use the microwave, it was built into his house. So he turned it on, and we're in the other room, and it zapped. He goes, now stand in front of it. Michael's like, wow. And then he explained how it kills the food, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, that